Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Top of the morning to you, and you're welcome to Dominion Television, your channel of choice. This is Dominion Sport. This wonderful Wednesday afternoon, we have so much to discuss in the world of sport. And once again, let me welcome you right here on the go. I am Paul Abe Toruwanemi, and we'll be looking at the local front where Remo Stars, the defending champions, will be taking on Kano Pillars at the MK Abiola Stadium. Also, today's the CAF Award. We'll be discussing that on the show. We would think is going to go home with the CAF Award from the male side and also the female side. Also, we look at the European scene. Some teams have qualified already for the World Cup in 2026, right then Canada, USA, and Mexico. All this and more. We got stories from the camp of the Gunners and also Manchester United. Top of the morning to you, Samson Balogun.
Well, beautiful morning to you, Toluwanimi. It's really nice to be here to talk sports. As we all know, there's so many things to talk about in the world of sport. And yes, on this show, we are going to bring you up-to-date analysis and, of course, undiluted reportage.
All right, let's look at what's happening right there in the fixture scheduled game between the defending champions Remo Stars against Kano Pillars. Samson Balogun, yesterday you were trying to unravel what we're going to expect today, but the game is upon us, and I'm just going to ask you, do you think these two teams have what it takes to get all 3 points, and would you think deserve all 3 points more? Because we're going to be looking at the stats in the last 5 games for this team and also the head-to-head battle in the last 5 games for both teams.
Well, it's a battle between two struggling entities. I mean, talking about Remo Stars, they are really struggling, and Kano Pillars, well, they are on another level of struggling. I mean,
struggling is different from struggling.
I mean, their levels. So it's they are in different phases, but most definitely, if you look at their positions on the log, you would know that they are both struggling. For Remo Stars, I think it has a lot to do about what is happening on the field, but for Kano Pillars, it is way beyond what is happening on the field. It is, about other things happening beyond what is going on on the four corners of the pitch. So I feel like they are in more trouble than Remo Stars. Remo Stars, they have the wherewithal to turn things around. They have a very brilliant coach in charge, Daniel Kumodede, and they also have a capable assistant. And I just feel like they just need a few touches here and there, maybe changing their style of play, a few changes in personnel on the field. I mean, in the starting 11, or maybe that will bring the change they are looking for. But for Kano Pillars, it is way beyond that. It is not just about the personnel on the field. It also has a lot to do with management and the technical crew. Don't forget that they do not have a substantive management crew as we speak. It is still interim under the tutelage of Gambo Mohamed, a former star of the team. So I feel like they are in different situations. But yes, the problem looks similar, and I feel like for Remo Stars it is a little bit easier for them to get out of this than Kano Pillars.
Right.
Kano Pillars are really enmeshed in this trouble. They are in a big mess as we speak. In fact, let me use they are in trouble. But then, can they turn things around? Yes, but it will take time. Might not be this season anymore because it's becoming too late. If you bring a new coach right now, you are going to give him at least 10 games ultimatum to turn things around. And 10 games plus what we already have, I think 13 as it stands, that's 23 games. That's a lot. That's a lot. So the season is almost over. Out of 38, you already, you are still planning within 28 or 25 games. So that says a lot about the kind of problem they are in. For Remo Stars, they have outstanding games. I mean, if they play the outstanding games and they are able to get results from those games, that puts them in a better position. As it stands, they are on 10 points. Winning those 2 games puts them on 16 points, and that takes them to somewhere around 10th, 11th on the log. So it's easier for them to get out of where they are right now. But for Kano Pillars, they do not have an outstanding game except for the one they are playing today against Remo Stars. So it means that if they fail to get results from this one, this further compounds their woes, and that's a big problem. You see, the challenge, one of the things I fear most is when you have to grind out results against teams that you are in similar situations. Let's say, for example, you are right behind a team on the top of the log and you have to play each other. It's a deadly situation. It's a make-or-make affair. And when you are playing against a team that you are almost at the same place on the log, especially at the lower bottom, it's also a deadly game, and it's going to take a lot from these players, mentally, physically, and emotionally. So they really have to put a lot of things into what they are doing today. And let's see what will happen. But I still feel Remo Stars as they have an edge over Kano Pillars.
All right, just like Samson Balogun has said, but let's look at the last 5 games for these two teams. If we can have it on the screen, and then I'm just going to ask Samson Balogun, who do you think is going to go home with all 3 points? There you have it on the screen. The last 5 game for Remo Stars is is all red, looking red right there. They picked up a victory. Yes, El Kanami Warriors. Let's look at for Kano Pillars what's looking like. Also for Kano Pillars of the way. There you have it. Also, just one draw against Bayelsa United. The last 5 matches against each other. Let's see who's edging out, and let's see how they can pick up momentum. For Kano Pillars, the last year it was victory. For Remo Stars, they picked up on maximum 3 points. On both games, and Kano Pillars just defeated them in 2023, right there on their home turf. But Samson Balogun, I'm just going to ask again, what do you think Kano Pillars can bring into this game? To tweak and change, their mentality and get all 3 points going away from home?
Well, I think for Kano, all they have to do is to remain focused on the field of play. They've got quality players, even though they are all aging. They've got quality players in that team, especially in midfield, in Rabiu Ali. He got a goal in their last game. Unfortunately, they lost to Bendel Insurance. So I feel that the quality is still there. What they lack is the energy. I mean, to pull things through, especially to play the whole 90 minutes and still remain as strong as they were in the blast of the whistle. So they cannot maintain the same momentum as this set of young players we now have in the league. And we have always said that. Yes, some people have said no, it's not about age. Rabi Ali is not old. This man is 45 or thereabouts. I mean, no matter how hard you want to hide behind that, you can tell that Cristiano Ronaldo is aging, as much as you will tell that Rabi Ali Pele is also aging. So there is no need to sugarcoat any of this, and we are not trying to badmouth a player. He's a legend. He's paid his dues. He's been there for almost over 20 years for the team. And he's the top goal scorer right now. So I feel like sometimes you leave while the ovation is louder. I mean, when you still you have some things left in you, and not when you are totally drained. So I feel like for Kano Pillars, they are definitely going to struggle against Remo Stars, because if you see how Remo Stars are set up, they love to play on the floor, they love to play on the ground, and Kano Pillars will struggle with that because a huge part of this season they have loved to play with the long balls. I mean, they have top players in midfield and in attack, so they would want to lob the ball across from the defense down to midfield or to attack. So they will choose long ball over playing on the ground. And once Remo Stars has the ball, they are definitely going to bring it down. So whoever has more possession definitely is going to be Kano Pillars because of how they play. And creativity in front of goal. One thing that I also see in Remo Stars lately is the fact that they have failed to convert their chances. Victor Mboma is a well-recognized striker, is a proven goal scorer, and I would expect him to actually be one to carry the burden of goal scoring in this team as we speak. But unfortunately, it has not been like that. He's struggled since he came back, and I just feel like a few things can be changed. Maybe his approach to how he plays or how he finishes in front of goal should be talked about. I mean, there should be an holistic class about, what exactly are you getting wrong? Is it your positioning? Is it how you hit the ball? Let's get this sorted because you have to score more goals. And yes, Remo Stars last season, they had a lot of support in terms of goal scoring from midfield and from the flanks. That has not been forthcoming this season. Their wingers have not really converted too many chances, and that is evident in how many goals they have scored this season so far. For the first time in a long time, we are seeing Remo Stars on 0 in terms of goal difference. I mean, that's for me is really disheartening to see that happen. So you could tell where the problem is coming from. They are not scoring goals. How do we solve this? It's not just about when you score enough goals. When you, for example, there used to be a certain situation under Carlo Ancelotti at Real Madrid. They are not going to, they are not doing too much of defending. They know they are definitely going to outscore you. That's how they do. That's when you see them playing 3-1, 4-2. They know they are going to outscore you. So that's why they pour more energy in attack-minded players, and you see a lot of their players playing, especially their fullbacks playing as wing backs. So they are mostly at the front. So they don't really do. Once they are scoring goals, when you score them, it doesn't really count because they're definitely going to. So if Remo Stars are going to do the same, they really need to fine-tune the attack and score more goals. But you can continue to leak goals when you are not scoring. It becomes a problem and you start losing games just like they are doing. So I see Remo Stars winning this particular one. Only if they can actually convert their chances. If they are not converting their chances, I'm sorry, they might just end up also maybe a draw or a loss. But then I see an improvement in this. Daniel Ogumore should be back. He's already with the team. So we want to see what he brings to the table. He's the head coach of the team, and his impact should be felt. The players should know that the gaffer is back. So that is what I expected this game today.
All right. And let's see how that one's going to pan out between the defending champions Remo Stars against Kano Pillars at the MK Abiola Stadium by 4 p.m. Also, you come a part of the show. Just drop your prediction in the comment section. Let's know what you think about the game between Remo Stars and Kano Pillars. We're going to go on a short break to watch the beautiful game between Barao and Enugu Rangers. And when we are back, we'll be talking about the camp of Eyimba Football Club. Stay connected to No Go Anywhere.
This is Nana to Yahaya Ibrahim. And a shot saved by goalkeeper Abina George. Yahaya still with it. Mohamed, it's a goal! What a super combination between the pair. Mohamed Omar and just from outside the box. Abraham Nana. Yahaya Ibrahim. He couldn't control. And a timely intervention by Chidozie Wundo. Abraham Nana! And the whistle is blown. Beautiful display here at the Sani Abacha Stadium. We're back for the second half of this match. Stanley Ogambo gets us underway. Brings in a good cross, headed away by Mohamed Omar. And the shots. It's a goal! Joseph Kamin doubles the lead for Barao FC. What a good header. What a perfect finish. Joseph Kamin Joseph Kemin is the man, number 16 jersey of Barao FC. Ojikalu. And it's a chance for Rangers International. Wahid Adebayo. It's a cross. Saved by Abine George. The whistle is blown. A goal in each half by Mohamed Omar and Joseph Kemin.
That's the beautiful game of football between Barao FC and Enugu Rangers, where they picked up all 3 points on their own turf. Let's move away from that and let's talk about the People's Elephant of Eyimba. As we got the report, it's still according to report that Eyimba's put players on half salary. They have placed us on half salary, and a quote, one of Eyimba's player, said they have not paid us a single match bonus since the season started, and they are now cutting our salaries by half. He added. Some time ago, we're talking about Eyimba International. They have been able. They already said Stanley Aguma to step aside, from the job. And earlier this season, we spoke about Eyimba letting go of some players, 22 players. Also, before the season started, Brandon Deye came out to say, there are certain unpaid bonuses. We didn't even get the report if those bonuses were still cleared or not. And now we're getting the same report yet again from the player representing Eyimba International. This is still according to report, but I think we should not be hearing about this in the year 2025, especially from a big club like Eyimba.
Well, unfortunately, that's the situation. I mean, there is no smoke without fire. Definitely, something must be going on in the team, and I really feel that when Felix Anyasi-Agu was the chairman for Eyimba Football Club, there wasn't too many bad stories like this. I mean, some things just change overnight and then becomes a problem for you to solve. I would expect someone with the stature of Nwankwo Kanu to know too much about football administration, especially having played in Europe for so many years. They call him the king of Pompey. He was at Portsmouth for so many years, played for Arsenal. I mean, that for me, Inter Milan, that for me should say you have experienced too many and should understand what football is all about, and now management should be done, especially when you were once a player and understands what the pains used to be. But unfortunately, you see, when some people, there is a particular saying that I was having the discussion with a friend yesterday, not even about sporting activity, and he was saying, look, there are about 2 different people that you should not put at the corridor of power. Okay. I mean, don't put someone who enjoyed, the silver spoon while growing up. Don't put them at the corridor of power because they really do not know how people feel. And then don't put people who are too poor. I mean, if that person is too poor and had a very poor background, I mean, don't put them there, because the moment they get there, they treat everyone like you will understand what I'm trying to say. Anyway.
So I'm going to ask you, so what do we put in power?
You see, there is a particular saying that says when we talk about especially football, it's a delicate scene. These are things that really need to be treated with with care. I mean, you are talking about player welfare. When you are talking about these are people who don't even have pension. They don't have a pension scheme unless the player decides to go into a pension plan by himself. So it means that they don't have more than, at least the minimum they have with you is a year, which is not even guaranteed. You might decide to discard that player as soon as you feel like, oh, you are no longer rendering a service that would love you to render for us. When they play in Europe, especially for Kano himself, he understands this. When he was a Portsmouth player, while they were holding him, it was the one that told them when they went bankrupt and then they were declared to go into administration at the time. He was the one that told the team that I have enjoyed my stay here. Whatever it is you are owing me, I'm giving to the team. He let go at that time because he was already okay. At that time, he had already played for Ajax. He had already played for Inter Milan, played for Arsenal. So playing at Portsmouth at that time was just like retirement benefit. So he had already done what he wanted to do as a football player. So he should understand better. These guys are still open to travel abroad. And this is the basis for trying out and, of course, creating a platform and a career for themselves. How do you explain to people in plain terms that a football club, I mean a full-blown football club that has won the CAF Champions League, has placed their players on half salary. For how long, for example? I don't even know.
And how much is the salary we're talking about?
This is not, I mean, some of them still earn as low as 300,000 per month. I mean, that for me is ridiculous for a football player. This is a career that you don't come back from it. When you have a serious injury, you are no longer coming back. Say, for example, there are other fields that if you have a serious injury, you are still free to get your job done. But a footballer, if your leg is broken, there are serious chances you might not play football again. If you have a broken arm, there are serious chances that medical reports will tell other teams that wants to sign you that, look, this is a potential, disaster on your plate. I mean, just discard him as soon as possible. So these are the things, these are the issues. Kano should understand better. Why this is not the issue, this is not about the players. It's about management. You bring a coach that understands the job, or you recruit the right players in the first place, then you would understand what this is all about. There's another thing we are not looking at. When you did so well last season, I mean, you finished in the top 5 places, and you want to change the face of things. What you do, a reasonable football club does not change 22 players and still want to meet up. What you do is to change about 5-6 players. It has happened at Arsenal or Chelsea, or they just discard a few players, but the compact team still remains. So you don't disband the whole team, bring fresh set of players and expect to perform magic. That's why what I was telling someone day before yesterday about Shooting Stars, and he said, oh, they started poorly. I said, these people had just about 15 players when they got the job. And then they had to recruit about 20 to 25 players to join the 15 players in the team. And what you are seeing, the 5 games unbeaten run they went on was just, for me, was magic. Because I didn't see how they could pull it off. I mean, it was just 1 month. They got the job within 1 month. And during that 1 month, that was when they declared open trial. And they recruited players. And that was the time they were trying to bring together a team. So they started the league, I mean, unprepared. For me, that's how I see it. So the magic you saw at that time was just things, individual brilliance on one hand, the coach's ability to actually do really well if given the necessary time on the other, and that was what you saw, and the management support. But for Enyimba, I don't see the management support in this place. I mean, how do you tell the players? So is that motivation for the players? I don't understand. The best thing for you to do to motivate players is to say, oh, your match allowances will be played as at so time. If you win the next game, you get so bonus. This is how you motivate players. You don't cut their salaries and expect them to win 3-0 the next day. It's not possible. It's not possible. In fact, you have gone ahead to demoralize the team. And I think Kanu does not know what he's doing at this time. It doesn't know one bit of what he's doing. If this particular story is true. It's true. I do not think he deserves to be the chairman of that club. He should just be asked, just like other people are being asked here and there.
I think I'm going to agree with Samson Balogun because we talk about Papilo, and with the wealth of experience he has, I'm sure he should
be face his academy and go and face his hotels here and there. Football is not for him because this is anti-football.
I agree.
I don't understand what exactly he's doing. If he has lost his tracks, he does not know what he's doing anymore, or he's delusioned about whatever it is, the advice he's getting from people. Let him just resign and walk away. It's not by force to be the chairman of a football club. It's not. This is not a one-man show. This is a club that belongs to a state. And you cannot come and start making the wrong decisions. We have always said, look, there are so many things that are attached to the game of football. And one of the things the players enjoy is the fact that you pay them as at when due. I was one of the people that advocated for weekly wages. Don't pay them salaries. I mean, it is totally wrong to say you are paid. They are not civil servants. And the idea of salaries came because majority of the teams were in the league at that time were being held by state governments. And when they pay their staff on the 25, just like Oyo State is doing on 26, they think they have to pay the players so they consider in their head, they consider them to be civil servants. And it's not so. They're not civil servants. The last administration, I think that was during the administration of Senator Isaac Ajimola Jimobi, was talking to a particular player and was asking how much he was earning, and the player mentioned, I think 250 or 300,000 at the time, and he said, what is his qualification? So the mentality of a politician or a governor on seat, he thinks that they are civil servants. They are not. So if you are not capable of running a football club, scrap it. And let private individuals take over these things. There was a time a particular individual came on board and said, look, I have interest in this particular team. Just sell me about 25% or 30% of the shares, or maybe 50%. I want to invest in this team. because of the corrupt system, because they are all corrupt, and what they do is to siphon money through football clubs. They pump money in there and they get it through the back door. They did not allow him come on board because they know that once he comes on board, there has to be transparency. He's a businessman. He wants to make money, so he understands the business deal, the business aspect of the game. So they shut him out. He went ahead to invest somewhere else. Why do you think Dangote does not have a team in Nigeria? Because he knows it is all fraud. But he was gravitating towards Arsenal at the point he wanted to buy Arsenal. Because he knows that is business. He knows this place, they are going to waste his money. Where is Ifeanyi Ubah today? He invested so much money, all the monies were siphoned, players were said to be collecting so amount of money, and at the end of the day, they are not getting that much. There were rumors at a point that even at Shooting Stars, there was an administration that when they play certain players, they will go ahead to pay a certain woman at the beer parlor, where their bosses go and drink beer with the player's salary, with sweat. So because I brought you to the team, I must get a cut of your salary. That is the nonsense and madness we practice in the Nigerian football scene. This has to stop. So whoever is not capable to handle football, let them walk away. Don't destroy the beautiful game for people who enjoy watching and then being in charge. Walk away if you cannot do it.
Come on, come on. Honestly, that's so much, to take this wonderful morning, and I think we have been clamoring for this change, and we want to see the change. To be very honest, and it's quite tiring, and that's the only way we can be part of the change. The media is the force, to drive such solutions forward, and I'm sure those listening to us and watching us, if you have the chance to cut this clip and send it to our appropriate quarters, we don't mind. Let them hear this and let them get it right and do justice to football. We want the right things to be done in Nigerian sport. Let's move away from that. This is still a very heartbreaking situation. This is coming through from the NNL board, confirmed that Dakada FC exits. The board of Nigeria National League, NNL, has confirmed the withdrawal of Dakada FC from the country's second-tier football competition. The Uyo-based club last week announced a decision to withdraw from the 2024-2025 league season. However, the official acknowledgement from the NNL board came on Tuesday, confirming that the club notification has been formally received. Dakada, formerly a Nigeria Premier League side, had been battling administrative and financial challenges following the relegation from top division. The league body is expected to issue further directives on how the withdrawal will affect the group standing and fixtures adjustments for the ongoing season. Samson Balogun, there we have it again. Dakada Football FC withdraw from this season competition.
You see, it's quite unfortunate that most of the teams we see on a daily basis, some of them are not financially buoyant enough to execute games. And if you ask them for exactly why they are doing this, to be similar to what we heard from the chairman of Kun Khalifat a few weeks ago, and they're calling for help, that we know the task ahead is way beyond us. We need help, we need this, we need that. And it's quite unfortunate, again, that our football is not attractive enough. How many times have you seen or heard about our teams having this same issue in the South African, Moroccan, Egyptian, or Algerian leagues? These things do not happen because they have sponsors. I once said something about branding and then put your team out, is that if your league is attractive, people want to be a part of it. If your league is attractive, people will definitely want to invest their monies in it. Definitely want to invest their monies in it because they know what they are getting in return. But unfortunately, invest their monies in it because they know what they are getting in return. But unfortunately, when they realize that you find on social media, you find on the pages of the newspaper, they are really disheartening, and they discourage you from actually check. If there's no integrity, if your referees are being rubbished on a daily basis, especially they are not being recognized by CAF or FIFA for any competition, I mean, how do you tell an average human being who loves sport, a football enthusiast, that in the WAFB, you don't see Nigerian referees, and then when you see them, you read Dakada. I really feel sad for them because they I think 2 seasons ago, they were in the MPFL, and they did not do too badly. Unfortunately, there are some teams that did better than them. That's why they were ousted and had to relegate to the second tier of the football league. But unfortunately, they are in a very tight situation right now. The NNL is about to start and they are pulling out. they have their reasons. They probably do not have the enough resources to execute this. Customers don't, you know, they don't cry foul of their monies, you know, being going down the drain. So I feel like all football clubs should have an insurance done in Europe, where even though you are the owner of your football club, you can do what you like. I think it should be, it should be advocated for in Nigeria too. There are too many football club owners that, you know, once they have played the football game and they have made some money, they dip their hands into that money, they go to beer parlors and then enjoy the pepper soup and big stouts. So all those things should end. There should be a level of transparency. How much are you making? There should be a body that monitors the finances of these football clubs. So you should set your priorities. So you don't spend money on things that really do not matter, because you need money to execute games. You have to travel, you pay your members of staff, you pay players, and then there are some miscellaneous. Another football club that is destined for greatness. You could remember there used to be, if you're FC Ifeanyi, FC Ifeanyi today, when there was a time where you had Sharks of Port Harcourt and Dolphins of Port Harcourt, owned by the same state. But unfortunately, they had to match the two football clubs together to become one. That's where you have Rangers Football Club. So these are the issues that really needs to be sorted out. Until we get this right, we might really have a lot of issues with other football clubs. Kun Khalifat is already complaining. Don't be surprised that by the end of the week 20, they will say they don't have money to execute games again, and then you will see walkover in our league, which for me should not happen.
All right, Commander. I think there's so much that needs to be done when you want to put football right in Nigeria. We hope that, you know, those in the arms of affairs can let these bodies that want to actually have a football club and know most of these rules and measures to take when you want to own a club in Nigerian football. Let's move away from that. Let's talk about the CAF Award 2025. It's the award day taking place right there in Morocco, Rabat, University Mohammed VI Polytechnic right here, and 7 p.m. is the time. Let's watch this wonderful video. And when we are back, we'll be talking about the award ceremony and what to expect right there. We have our very own Rashidat Ajibade making the top 3 nominees for the CAF Women Award, and also we have Victor Osimhen also making that list. Also, we have Chiamaka Inadozie making that list, and likewise Shakrat Mashoud making the Young Women's Player top 3 nominees.
Side, a great opportunity. Surely it's in the back of the net. Oh, wow!
All right, there you have it. A beautiful clip from the Men's Award. Samson Balogun, it's that time of the year again where we celebrate greatness, we celebrate hard work, we celebrate talent, we celebrate creativity, skills, and we celebrate these wonderful athletes that have done great things in this year. This is that time of the year again, and Morocco, one nation, we set the award. Look at what they're doing in the FIFA Under-17 currently. That should show how good they have become over the years. I think we would love to have Nigeria, you know, also be part of, you know, the CAF award ceremony. I'm sure we would get to that face yet again, because I'm sure we would get to that face yet again, because I'm sure we want to do that.
At the time, Yaya Toure was a more attack-minded midfielder. He was an attacking midfielder at that time, and he was scoring goals. John Obi Mikel was a defensive midfielder. He wasn't scoring goals, but definitely was stopping other teams from scoring goals. So they rated Yaya Toure based on how many goals he scored and some other things. Whereas leaving the dirty work Obi Mikel was doing for Chelsea and the national team at that time, and won the UEFA Champions League. So for me too, I might want to key into that and say, yes, he was robbed somehow. But then, on the other hand, Yaya Toure was also worth being the award winner at that time. Just that Obi Mikel had a lot to show for it at that time. He won the UEFA Champions League. And aside from your individual performance, another thing that is being used at the yardstick is what trophy you won and when, and what role you played, how instrumental you were. But for that Champions League, I think that was in 2012. John Obi Mikel was one of the best players for Chelsea at that time. He did excellently well in that team. He was more or less, he played almost in all positions for Chelsea, was moving around and there. I think you could remember that game against Bayern Munich, who played with all blocks at the back. So it was something that really should have been in favor of Obi Mikel, but unfortunately it didn't come that easy. So moving on from there, I think we have all the players available right now. You have Mo Salah, you have Achraf Hakimi, and you have Victor Osimhen. Yeah. They all played important roles for their teams last season, especially for Gala. Victor Osimhen was in blistering form, scoring goals left, right, and center. I mean, it was really a massive one for him. And for the Super Eagles, yes, they were at the AFCON, but unfortunately they could not win. They played second to Ivory Coast, but that for me should also count in one way or the other. And if you look at for Achraf Hakimi, was with Paris Saint-Germain, the most underrated Paris Saint-Germain team in the last 7 or 8 years, won the UEFA Champions League, won everything that was at stake, except for the FIFA Club World Cup that they could not win, that they lost to Chelsea. So for me, in terms of contribution for Paris Saint-Germain, Achraf Hakimi was instrumental, one of the most senior players in the team, did so well, a leader, and of course a goal scorer at some point when they needed some goals. And for Morocco, he's been one of the biggest players in the team in the last 10 years. So I want to believe Achraf Hakimi also deserves to win the award. And for Mo Salah, Liverpool, after Jurgen Klopp, people thought it was over, and then Ancelotti will have to struggle. But they maintained the momentum, they kept it cool, they won the league again, and that for me says a lot about how he contributed. He had about, I think, around 40-something goal and assist contribution for the team. It's really massive. I mean, his contribution says a lot about what is available and what is on deck. So I want to believe that they all have what it takes to win this. They all have what it takes. They contributed so well for their teams and for their national teams. And you see what Morocco also did at some competitions lately, and now they have been dealing with pressure on the African continent. So I feel that for me, I would also push Achraf Hakimi, because this is not the first time he's been on the podium.
I think he came close with Ademola
Lookman. So this is not the first time. This might just be his return, and that return, he might just win it, just like that.
All right, guys, what do you think? Do you agree with Samson Balogun? Do you think Achraf Hakimi should pick up this award today? Drop it in the comment section, or maybe you might say maybe a consolidation for Victor Osimhen. I'm sure if Nigeria was still in the race for the World Cup ticket, a certain Victor Osimhen will still be in Morocco by this time, just to have a glimpse of a chance of this one again for himself. But let's move away from that. Let's talk about the female side. We spoke about it yesterday. Esther Okoronkwo, missing out of that one. But let's look at what it looked like for Rasheedat Ajibade. For you, Samson Balogun, are you still sticking your neck out, for Rasheedat Ajibade, or you rather go with the Moroccan lady?
Well, if you look at the current setup for Rasheedat Ajibade, in terms of contribution for her team, she had to change in mid-season, left Atletico Madrid and joined Paris, went to Paris. So I feel like, yes, for the team, you might not really say too much of Rasheedat Ajibade. She was instrumental for Atletico Madrid last season, but then having moved to Paris this season, she might not really have had too much in terms of performance to record for her. But for the national team, she has been a mainstay in that team for the last 7-8 years, and she's been instrumental in the kind of how they play. And she's played in different positions, played on the flank, played as a striker, played behind the striker. In fact, has played in the number 10 role in the last few games for the team. So in terms of goal contribution and assist for the national team, she's there. And they won silverware, they won the WAFCON. So for me, I think Rasheedat Ajibade deals so well. And for Shebak, she's been doing well. Yes, we understand that, but it was Rasheedat Ajibade that stopped her from winning the WAFCON. So that says a lot about the superiority she has over her. And for Sana Missouri too, she definitely also has a place But then she might just like I said earlier, you might have Rashida Tajibade as the winner, you have Shebak as assistant, and then you have Sana Missouri as the third on the podium.
All right. Also for Chiamaka Nnadozie, I'm sure something Balogun has already said yesterday that she deserved that one.
Nobody comes close.
Nobody comes
in the
close
goalkeeping department. None of them come close
to that.
She's been one of the biggest goalkeepers on the planet, and she's moving to Brighton. I've seen clips. I've seen clips of after making a save. All the Brighton team will have to rush down to the goalpost to say, "Oh, look, you saved us here." So I feel like it will be daylight robbery to say she doesn't deserve this. But on the other hand, if you want to feel like she's won it before, and then the new player that is doing well now has to take it. Well, it might not be a bad idea, but that has to be the reason. But in terms of performance for Chiamaka Nnadozie, I don't think anyone should get it ahead of her. All
right, let's move away from that quickly. Let's look at the team that have qualified for next year's World Cup in 2026. We have Canada, Mexico, USA, Australia, Iran, Japan, Jordan, Korea Republic, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Uzbekistan, Algeria, Cabo Verde. Yes, that's Cape Verde. We have Cote d'Ivoire, we have Egypt, we have Ghana, we have Morocco, we have Senegal, we have South Africa, we have Tunisia, we have Curacao, we have Haiti, we have Panama, we have Argentina, we have Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Paraguay, Algeria. We have Uruguay, we have New Zealand, we have Austria, we have Belgium, Croatia, England, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, Scotland, Spain, and Switzerland. Let's have some pictures, being displayed. There you have it. Fantastic team qualified yesterday. Spain, had to do that one yesterday for themselves. Switzerland also qualifying yesterday. But something about good, some two teams made history. This game yesterday, Scotland and Denmark, was one game that was mind-blowing yesterday, and Scotland had to get that one through. They nicked it through in 9 minutes to save qualification. Also, Haiti made that one. The Blue family making it also. You wonder, come on, you wonder what the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Also, you have Panama making it also, and you look at all that teams also making it, Scotland also making it. Those are the teams who have made it to the World Cup. We'll be discussing about the World Cup on the show also. But because of our time, let's take more stories making around in the world of sport this wonderful morning. I've got a report that Gabriel Magalhaes of Arsenal, is now said to be out for 1 to 2 months with a pan initial indication, but tests are still very much ongoing. But right at about time that it's going to be set out for 1 to 2 months. Also, this Eder Militao right there of Real Madrid having injury, but we're going to get more report on that. Also, moving away from that, Benjamin Sesko of Manchester United also is sidelined. We got a report that it's going to be out for at least the second week of December. Something about these injuries, what does this state for the likes of Arsenal and Manchester United?
You see, challenging times are coming for most of the teams you are talking about, because this is exactly why most of the teams really do not like going on international break. Great. Because they are the ones paying hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes millions of dollars on a yearly basis on some players, and then all of a sudden the national teams will come and say, look, we want to make use of these players, and when they come back, they are coming with injury, and then they end up on the bench. And by the time they come back, they'll probably play 2-3 games, and there's another international window, and then they are going. So the teams will not really be happy to see this. I mean, it's going to be really disheartening for Manchester United. They are still trying to find their bearings so far this season. For Gabriel and William Saliba, they have been the stone wall for Arsenal in defense this season and the season before season before. So it's going to be a really difficult one, because replacing Gabriel might be really difficult because of his size in the team and what he brings to the table. And so far, I think just before they played against Sunderland, they went 8 games without conceding a single goal. And that is still the defensive partnership of Gabriel Magalhaes and William Saliba. Now Gabriel is no longer there, especially at the time that they just considered they might still be in shock. And then bringing a new defender to replace him in the team might just be a disaster. So, well, right now it's really going to be a problem for Arsenal bringing in a new player. But though they have a lot of players that can still come in and then make a difference, I just hope that the coach knows how to manage this before it becomes a major problem in the team. But in terms of injuries or international breaks, I really feel that most of the teams are at a disadvantage. You cannot tell your players not to go for international breaks, or else they will report you to FIFA. Yeah. So there's nothing. In fact, sometimes some teams are being fined because they failed to release their players. There was a particular player we're talking about 2 or 3 weeks ago. He just came back from 3 months injury and was named the starting in the provisional squad for an international break. And the team was like, look, this guy just came back from it. Can you just let him breathe? But FIFA said no. As long as he's fit, he has to play for the national team. And what if he goes there and gets injured? There were times we see make him to play for Nigeria, and by the time he returns to his team, he's injured. So it's like that for the teams. They are at a disadvantage, especially during international breaks. They are always praying that these players come back in one piece. And you can also testify to the fact that if you are invited to your national team, it is basically because you are doing fine with your team. So you cannot. They usually don't invite fringe players, players who are not getting the game time. It is still the major players and the key players in the team that get invited to the national team. So I just hope that they find a way around it, find a replacement. That's why for every player, for every recruitment, and you are recruiting a player in a certain position, there has to be a replacement. If there is an injury to one, then another one takes over.
All right, that's all we can take on the show this wonderful morning right here on Dominion Television. I'm going to say a big thank you to the producer and also to the crew. I say a big thank you to you for making sure this show is going live and it's remaining global. Also say a big thank you to the top-notch analyst himself, Samson Balogun, always making sure he brings his own in-depth analysis to the show. And also a big thank you to everyone that watched us this wonderful morning. But make sure you follow us, make sure you share, make sure you like, and also make sure you drop your comment right there in the comment section. I remain Paul Abe Toruwanemi. Samson Balogun, thank you so much for coming. All right, we're going to say again tomorrow. Have a wonderful day, stay blessed, and enjoy your day.